give a plug. Tell us about the book. When's it coming out?
Yeah, it's coming out in October. It's called Reimagining Apologetics, and sort of the elevator pitch is crises of faith and doubt are experienced not primarily in the intellect, or at least not alone in the intellect, but in the imagination. We feel sort of maybe, for example, the narrowness of faith before we reject it, right? So there's this felt sense, it doesn't sit well with us before we begin to sort of do the rationalization that this is right or this is not right. And so what would it look like to do apologetics in a way that just takes the imagination more seriously? And I don't want to, again, I don't want to do away with rational argument or anything like that. I just sort of want to say these things really work together. And then specifically, I'm working off of, like a lot of people these days, I guess, Charles Taylor's understanding of secularity and secularity as a sort of imaginative crisis.
Yep.
Both the crisis of the imagination, but also for the imagination, because the imagination is now being tasked to make all of these connections that in an enchanted world just kind of were more natural. Mm-hmm. And so specifically, I write about authenticity, which is sort of this internal call to compose a life that is original. So sort of find your own way of being human. And whereas a lot of people want to say, like, that's just narcissism, that's just expressivism run amok, I want to say, well, let's actually dig into this conversation that our culture is having about this and see if we can move towards a thicker version of authenticity, which again requires, because it's a work of composition, imaginative attunement. Yeah. And so that's sort of what I'm arguing in the early part of the book. And then the latter part of the book, I give examples of a reimagined apologetic from two different thinkers who are coming out of broadly reformed traditions. And I make that connection because I feel like they have a similar view of God's active presence in the world, which is fundamentally a Calvinist apprehension of the world. And they're George MacDonald from the 19th century, and then Marilyn Robinson, who was a contemporary Pulitzer Prize-winning author. And then those are my sort of two case studies in reimagining apologetics. And then I sort of say, what could this look like on the popular level? But it's mostly a work of maybe methodology, sure, rather than a how-to book. If they say this, you say that. It's not that at all. It's much more a reflection on the discipline of apologetics itself.
Yeah. And when does that come out?
It comes out October 13th, I believe.
October 13th, and published with who?
InterVarsity Press Academic.
Nice.
Yeah.
Great. And we'll, I'm sure, be able to get it on Amazon and.
Yep, it's on there now.
Oh, it's on there right now.
It's on there right now. Yeah.